What's up, everybody? Paul here from Hashtag Sports. Obviously, I am by myself in my underground studio here with the Hall of Fame level members. That was Apex roster. That's kind of a big one that a lot of people talk quite a bit. Happy to talk about that with you guys. If you're not bored to want to watch or whatever you guys want to talk about, let's hit it up in the live chat and let's go. Let's go. Anything in the world that you guys want to discuss? Let's get at it. So very first item up on the board probably is the schedule. As I said, a lot of people have been talking about that. A week 11 bye. Can you guys believe it? Week 11 bye. Favorite time of the season for a bye. Absolutely love the week 11 bye. It's just enough time to get your team going. Just enough time to take a break right at the right time. Yeah, Ryan, did someone say bacon? See, I figured that would get everybody here. You know, that's really all it was. It's just a ploy to get everybody here. Was all the bacon talk. That's it. So to start the season, the Bills at home. Question is, will the Bills have fans in the stands? I know it's September, so it's a long time away. So I guess we'll find out. I am a little worried about what you would do to a bunch of Bills fans if they were confined to their neighborhoods. And be kind of anything is possible, I suppose. But confining Bills fans during week one of the NFL football season, the city might burn. It might burn. Now, I know it's no fire compared to the one that's burning in New Jersey where the Jets are, because they're a mess. We were just talking about that with Apex and Matt Henry. Man, that was talking about Mekhi Becton for the Jets. Yikes. Fun player to watch. I'm not going to deny it. Mekhi Becton's a fun player to watch for the Jets. But if you plan on investing in a quarterback, Mekhi Becton's a tough player to draft, right? Because he can throw humans like no tomorrow, right? Just tossing bodies everywhere. Super fun to watch. Definitely could be better. Not the most technically sound. Hey, Joe from Believers Talk. Just a few moments ago. Hey, Daniel. Yeah, Be Lightning. And of course, John Calvin pestering me at the very start about a comparable to Hodgins. I see you. It's tough to find a comparable to a successful wide receiver, 6'4", and like a nickel over 200 pounds. Just throwing that out there. There's not many of those, right? What's a good comparison? Tyler Boyd. I'll take Tyler Boyd. It's a good comparison. Paul Berg, what's up? I have a very good friend of mine who's a Chiefs fan. Very good friend. And I texted him as soon as the schedule came out, and my text message read exactly this. Early warning, October 15th, you're dead to me. That was it. And he's a very good friend of mine. Like, that's not October 15th, man. You don't exist to me. We can be friends the 14th. We can be dogs the 16th. On the 15th, it's over. Just for a day. That's all I need. I just need a day. And the Bills' travel schedule. Let's talk about that. So when you take a look, they are playing a lot of teams in the West. So you're looking at the Jets opening Miami. So you got back-to-back division games. Then you have LA. You're home against LA, and then you're away in Vegas. I mean, who knows if that stadium's even going to be ready? Where are they going to play? Right? Like where are they going to play? That city might not be ready for the start of the season. Then you are away at Tennessee. You're home against the Chiefs on Thursday night, away at the Jets, home against the Patriots, home against Seattle. Now that game I'm very fascinated about. That's the one on the schedule that I'm like super excited about. A lot of people say the Thursday game against Kansas City, but I'm really pumped about the Seattle game. That's the one that I'm looking forward to. Away with the Cardinals, home against the Chargers, away at San Francisco on Monday night, home against Pittsburgh, TBD, away against the Broncos, home on Monday against the Patriots, and you close out your season against the Dolphins. So the Dolphins get, what is that, 15 weeks to figure out how to play football. Oh, Apex, you said you're going to the game in December? That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. No way. I don't travel like that. I don't travel like that, guys. Don't get me wrong. I love the Bills, right? I will travel to any Major League Baseball stadium. I could survive the Major League Baseball stadium experience. I'm 37 now, and I don't know if I have it in my soul to travel for 16 or travel for 8 weeks to just a absolute, party cruise everywhere that you go. I don't think I got that in me. I'm 3 kids deep. I don't know if I can party like that. You might get one game out of me in an away game stadium. Like, I probably do one. I don't think I could do 8. Certainly can't do a home playoff game. You guys are nuts for what you do at home playoff games. It's a funny thing when you look at the schedule, you're like, okay, well, you're going to be, home. You have a night game, right? Your first night game is against the Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions, at home on Thursday night. I was like, I don't even know if the lights work at New Era. Have we tested these things? Do we even have enough bulbs? Like, it's been a long time since we had a primetime game at home. Like, are we sure we got the facilities for this? All right. Oh, Evan Anderson's in the chat. Yeah, 37's the new 25. It is not. And for those of you keeping score at home, I've brought out yet another random pop. For $2.99, you could buy a 12-pack of Dr. Tops. Now, that's right, Dr. Tops. It is like an off-brand. It doesn't even taste like Dr. Pepper. It's closer to Mr. Pibb, which doesn't taste like Dr. Pepper either. This is what I'm drinking tonight. You buy this at New Era, it's still like $8. All right. So schedule, again, week 11 bye week, which I think is kind of critical for when you look at rookie development, right? So let's talk about that for a second. You loaded this team up with draft picks, and let's just say 4 of them make the roster, right? So you're looking at Espinoza, you're looking at Moss. Let's just say Davis makes the roster, and we'll say it doesn't really matter. Let's say Hodges makes the roster too, right? Rookie burnout's really a thing. 100%. It is a concern, right? You can burn out rookies. They just came from a college season where they played nonstop. They've probably been, among the best athletes on their team for a few years. So they've been dependent on, on the roster for the last few seasons at the college level. There's really no off season for them. They come in, they start preparing for the scouting combine. They go from the scouting combine into the draft. And now they go from the draft into, probably virtually working with, strength and conditioning coaches, and, they're being held responsible for trying to get their life in order to learn how to become an NFL player. And then you pop into the preseason, and then you pop into week 1. And McDermott, as we saw with Devin Singletary last season, he's going to give these guys time, right? Their bodies need an opportunity to get ready. But not only that, McDermott is a firm believer in 10,000 snaps. It is time on task. That's the deal. It is time on task for him. If you want to make this roster, you need to be able to put your time in and practice. So it is most certainly something that you have to be conscious of. If you're looking for Espinoza to make an impact right away, or if you're looking for Zach Moss to make an impact right away, or any of these rookies, you're probably gonna have to bide your time a bit. McDermott likes to take his time with rookies, not named Josh Allen, not named Tremaine Edmonds, not named Ed Oliver. Those are first round players. Espinoza, even though he's the player that you drafted, it's your first player. He's not a first round player. He probably get some time, and I don't really think you need to rush him. Same with Moss. I think you've got those positions held up enough where you're not going to depend on a rookie. And oh my God, can we just talk about how good it is to say that? Feels so good to say that you drafted players that you didn't have to have. You didn't have to have them. You wanted them. Is this what winning sounds like? I can't believe the words that are coming out of my mouth. Is this what winning sounds like? You drafted players because you wanted them, not that you needed them. God, that feels so good. John Calvin says Moss will play right away. Let's see here. Believers talk the importance of the Bills already signing 6 of their 7 draft picks when 25 teams have yet to sign 1 of their draft picks. Well, Joe, didn't you just do a stream on the Bills signing the draft picks? Every team goes about this differently, right? So I'll give you an example. Like Fisher, when he was in Tennessee, was crazy about when he was with the Rams too. He was crazy about signing draft picks. Didn't ever sign a draft pick ever until their orientation. And he'd go and he'd take $1 million and he'd drive a Brinks truck with $1 million in it. I think all in singles. And he'd show the players, this is what $1 million looks like. Welcome to the NFL. Now, this is how much, your agent is going to take. And this is how much that house that you just bought, this is how much is there. This is, and he go through an orientation. Signing rookies now is really not that big a deal. They're rookie contracts. And Buffalo's a place where players kind of want to be. If I'm a rookie player, I'm kind of excited to be here. Unfortunately, haven't been able to see the facilities. So, it's not really something they've gotten the ability to do is come in and really get, their feet ingrained in the culture that they're kind of walking into. But with that being said, I think Buffalo is a place you want to be, right? If you're an undrafted free agent, you might have picked Buffalo. There's a lot going on here, man. And so do I think it's a statement that you get all your rookies signed? I think it's better to get them signed now than just to wait. With all these negotiated contracts, there's no reason to wait. These guys, if they want to be here, let's get them under contract. Let's go. Let's just get them on. Let's go. If you guys want to hear probably a better and more objective take on that, I go back over and watch Believers Talk stream on this once this is over, because while signing draft picks I think is important, they're all pre-negotiated at this point. And a lot of it is just bookkeeping and, getting the guys in on your culture quick. Signing all your players now, good for you, man. Get them going on the culture piece. That's what this team is built on. It's built on culture. Go get it, right? Go get that culture started. Make these guys feel happy that they're here. Make them feel appreciated. That's it. Go get them. Hen Dog, we drafted a kicker, people. I know. Kid's got a cannon. Kid's got a cannon. The question becomes, what are you going to do with Hauschka? I'm super curious about that. No idea. I'm excited to see a kicking battle, but experience is king in an abbreviated offseason, and Buffalo's not the easiest place in the world to kick. So Bass has got his work cut out for him, but you don't draft a kicker unless you think they're making the wrong. A lot of kickers are UDFAs and they're on short-term deals, 1-year deals, and you just, walk away from it. But you drafted a kicker. There's a commitment there. Not to say that he's going to make the team, but, that's a statement. That's a player that you said we can't afford to let him go anywhere, right? Let's ensure ourselves competition at the position, and let's not play the agent game. So Apex does mention you do save $2.1 million if you do let Hauschka go. And I don't know, man. Milano's on a contract here. You could talk to Trey. You could talk to Dawkins. You got some players coming up. Those are just the popular names, right? Levi Wallace is just perennially on a contract here. Norman is, again, on a deal where you can extend him at any point. You still got Micah Hyde that you could talk extension with because you just re-signed Jordan Poyer. That's just on the defensive side of the football. You renegotiated Star's contract, give yourself more money. So good for you. But, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on. Paul Berg just hates Deion Dawkins. You are not alone, man. You are not alone. You are certainly not alone. Shiv is gold. What's up, man? There's a comment that I want to get back to. Give me 1 second. I love you guys so dearly. Apex talking about Trey Adams. So we did talk a little bit about Trey Adams. There's actually a video for those of you who subscribe to the channel at the Hall of Fame level and at the Pro Bowl level. You guys get exclusive content that doesn't go out to everybody else. So it's kind of like a one-on-one video breakdown. So one that just got released today was Antonio Williams, who's the newly UDFA running back from UNC that the Bills now have. So kind of broke down some things to know about Antonio Williams, some tendencies, go through some film and just kind of say, this is the player, this is who they are. I've already recorded about 3 or 4 others, one of them being Trey Adams, the left tackle from Washington. And in that video, I actually go, I go and look at the Ohio State game because Washington played Ohio State. He's going against Chase Young, which is kind of like a high bar to set, right? You're talking about a top 5 pick, but high bar to set. Regardless, when you look at Trey Adams, there's a lot to like about Trey Adams, but this dude's been rehabbing 2 out of the last 3 seasons. So from a reps perspective, you can tell it's just not all put together. Do I think he makes the team? I don't. Do I think he's a priority player to waive and get on your practice squad? 100%. And he's a player that had options at multiple locations, and he picked Buffalo. I don't think that they're going to forget that if he's not a complete and total tire fire at the position. I like Trey Adams an awful lot. Probably one of the better pass blocking tackles coming out of this draft. And I will be honest with you, there were not many good pass blocking tackles coming out of this draft. So I'm a big fan of Trey Adams, but there's a lot to be desired from a strength standpoint. So a year off is going to be good for him. It's going to be good for him. I'm just telling you. It's going to be real good for him. Naveed says Allen can throw farther than Bass can kick. Accurately? We'll see. We shall see. Oh, look at that. Believers Talk Pro Bowl selection. Adam, all right, buddy. All right. Yeah, so again, the memberships are there if you guys are interested in those different levels. You'll see the logos next to people's names and GIFs and different things that you can add into the chat. That's at the practice squad level. And then you can go all the way up to like exclusive content. Like, as I said, we just did a one-on-one with the Hall of Famers, prior to this chat starting. So before we even went live, we were one-on-one with those guys. So Mario and I, awesome time. Always a good time. Thomas can't blow up Dallas game. Check will support me. That's just like the second comment I've heard about that. Listen, I know we're under quarantine. I know times are tough. I get it, right? I got 3 kids. We got to quarantine haircuts today, and my 7-year-old looks like Machine Gun Kelly. There's just nothing we can do about that now, right? We made the commitment. We started the process. That's just who we are, right? That's what happened. And Daniel Rari's doing the hard work. Smash that like button. Thank you again. Slamming these Dr. Tops. All right, so one thing I want to talk about is kind of the forgotten player among the defensive end position. So we talked about AJ Espinoza. Of course, you have Trent Murphy, who debatable whether he's going to make the team or not. I'm not, from a cap standpoint, if you're looking at re-signing some of your younger players, paying Trent Murphy a boatload of money doesn't always make the most sense, right? So financially speaking, doesn't make the most sense because you can give that money to another player that you want to keep a little bit longer than just this year. But Daryl Johnson, I think we forget about Daryl Johnson. I think we forget about Voshon Joseph too, because again, I know he profiles as a linebacker right now, but I really just don't see. He does not know how to cover zone. So, I mean, if you tell him to go eat a quarterback, he's going to go eat that quarterback. So I think those guys kind of profile down to the defensive end position pretty well. Johnson was sort of a little bit undersized. You could tell that with a little bit more power, he would have been really devastating. He destroyed the preseason, right? It was so excited to watch him during the preseason. But I think Daryl Johnson gives you the ability to not have to rush AJ Espinoza along. You can take your time. Espinoza is a fun player, but he's not a top 10 pick, right? There's some things there that he's going to need to work on. Even with that being said, defensive end position is a fun position for Buffalo this year. Fun position. I know I can't say like. That Paul Berg even says if Daryl Johnson gains weight, he can play. Totally true, man. He's got to put on some weight. It's got to happen. It's got to put on some weight. But if he could add 12, 15 pounds, that's a lot. If he can add 8 to 12 pounds, you're going to see a big difference because not like he doesn't have a high motor. He's got a motor, right? That just keeps running. But he had a tendency to try and bull rush tackles. And in college, you can get away with that, right? There's some tackles if you're playing, if you're playing, the Appalachian State, no offense, you can probably bull rush those tackles a little bit easier, right? You're playing Colorado, you can bull rush the Colorado. You play an Akron, you can bull rush those guys. You get away with that, right? Because it's athlete on athlete in college. It is not athlete on athlete in the NFL. And that's what a lot of those prospects learn at a very quick pace is technique is king. That's why I like Espinoza, right? Really solid player. He's going to work hard for. He's going to be good culture fit right away. And he's just got a motor that doesn't stop. And if you want to play in Buffalo, you got to have a motor that don't stop. That's why I was kind of a little surprised with Gabriel Davis. I don't know if you guys saw the videos last week where we talked about Gabriel Davis a little bit. Take some plays off. Kind of surprised by the Bills' interest in him because he did have a tendency to take some plays off. Nobody's film is perfect, right? I was just kind of surprised by that because it's not normally the Bills' MO to do that. But hey, who knows? Let's see. Josh Clark. It's going to be a while before people pronounce Epesna. Is it Epesna? I thought it's Espinoza. I'm going to go to Wikipedia on that. It's fine. Yeah, there's only one S in Epineza. I like Espinoza better. Epineza, fine. We'll do Epineza. Cutley Smith because of penalties. Not hard to make that case, right? Lee Smith is a walking penalty. Thanks, Anthony, for the phonetic spelling of Epineza. Yeah, there's how much caffeine is in this? Doesn't matter. It's all that high fructose corn syrup anyway. Don't tell Mario we went to Wikipedia. Teachers hate that website. Lee Smith could get a holding penalty walking through an airport, right? That's just the facts. The weird thing is, like, you take a look at Lee Smith. Lee Smith in his five? Is he on year 5 with the Bills now? He's entering year 6. Lee Smith, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, has as many receptions in 5 years as a Buffalo Bill as Dawson Knox had his entire college career. Pretty sure that's right. I'm not a fan of Lee Smith. I will never tell you that I am. I'm not a fan of Lee Smith. I was disappointed with Tyler Kroft last year. Tommy Sweeney, let's just, again, he's a late round pick. So if you can get anything out of that, I think you're kind of happy. Dawson Knox is there. You still have Jason Kroom, who everybody has forgotten about. I know we're going to joke about the fact that we all know why Jason Kroom's on the team. Har, har, har. The fact is he's still getting paid. So Kroom is still on this team, and he, again, fits that athletic profile of tight end. And I guess that's kind of the main point that I want to get to tonight. If there is nothing more that you take away from this video tonight, I want you to walk away with at least this. If this offseason hasn't told you that Buffalo wants to throw the ball 35 times a game, I don't know what does, right? Let's take a look at the offseason. You've added Zach Moss. Great. You need another running back, right? Frank Gore went and signed with the Jets for some ungodly reason. You still have TJ Yeldon, you have Devin Singletary, you have Christian Wade, and now you have Moss. I mean, you have Antonio Williams. But when you take a look from an experience standpoint, Yeldon's your most tenured back in the room. Okay, so you bring in Moss. It's a great addition. Big fan of Zach Moss. Think it's going to slide in the offense. Great. But you traded your first round for a wide receiver. So you added a wide receiver. Then you added 2 more wide receivers, later in the draft. This team is loaded with talent. And let's just unpack last season just real quickly. They tried to sign John Brown and they tried to sign Cole Beasley. They wanted one or the other. They threw really the same contract at both of them, and they said yes. And I made this joke with the Hall of Famers in the live chat prior to this, and the joke was, it's kind of like asking 2 girls to prom, and they both said yes. You just threw it out there and just let the magic happen. And what did that leave you with? Well, that left you with a pretty short wide receiver group, right? Because you had incumbent Isaiah McKenzie. Robert Foster was your tallest wide receiver, so you signed Duke Williams, who wasn't that much taller than him. I mean, we were talking half an inch taller. Your wide receiver group was historically small, so you made a bunch of jokes about it, about how it's a team of Smurfs, and then you go out and you snag Diggs, who is entering the prime of his career, with still 4 years left on his deal. Brown and Beasley both have 2 left on their deal, and now you look at the wide receiver room. It's a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger. So I don't want you to think that last season size at the wide receiver position doesn't matter. I disagree with that. I think they know that size matters from a height standpoint, right? They're not looking at bruising wide receivers, right? So they're not going out there and getting guys who are going to manhandle the competition. They're going out and getting guys who can high point a ball, who can fight for a football, because when you look at it, you didn't really have any of those guys. So you went and got some really nice contested catch guys that just happen to catch everything. Gabriel Davis, Isaiah Hodges, they're fly paper, they're automatic, they just catch everything. And that's a lesson from Zay Jones. Zay Jones was a player who had all the talent in the world, and you looked at it and said he can run routes, we could put him in right now, and then football started hitting the turf, and you went, oh no, what went wrong here, right? And your correction to that is, okay, well, we made it through last offseason. We picked up some guys. Let's draft some players, but let's make sure that we're drafting players that are just fly paper. And I understand you could say Zay Jones was Doug Whaley all day long, and the fact is that is true, right? So this is really the first major draft investment we've seen Brandon Beane make into the wide receiver position, but it's to guys who just are automatic. And I think it'll be easier to teach them how to run routes that will be to teach them how to catch a football, right? Simple. It's very logical. Go get the guys who just catch everything and teach them how to do the job. Maybe one of them will work out, right? Makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a ton of sense. With all that on the table, right? You went out and you had a small group. You now have a very tall wide receiver group by comparison. So you still have Robert Foster. You still have Duke Williams. Now you have Isaiah Hodges. You have Gabriel Davis. And then you start running into players who are a little bit shorter. The Diggs, Brown, Beasley, Nick. Isn't Nick Easley 6'2"? Nick Easley, put him in the tall category. I think he's 6'2". If memory serves me correctly. I think he was taller than I thought he was. And you have a very big divide on that wide receiver, so you kind of mix and match what you're doing. But you didn't make any investments into your offensive line, right? You did that through UDFAs. You added 3 offensive linemen through the undrafted free agent process. You're kind of coasting a little bit with what you got. But make no mistake, the Bills are going to throw the football, right? They're going to put the offense in the hands of their most dynamic playmaker, who they really do believe is Josh Allen. I understand that playoff game might scare the living hell out of all of you. Yeah, it scared the hell out of me, right? I'm not a big fan of Josh Allen hero ball. And I saw for just a few plays, moments getting just a little too big for him, right? And it's a learning experience. I'm willing to accept that. I'm very willing to accept that. But it's hard to argue that Josh Allen can't change a football game on every snap, because he can, right? So this offense is going to throw the football a lot. You do not have tight ends who run block particularly well. You have athletic receiving tight ends. Dable's never used tight ends in his offenses, no matter where he's been. So I'm excited to see how that's going to work out. But the fact is, you don't go adding Diggs unless you're concerned about the short and long term, right? You want to throw the football. And he's a mouth that has to get fed, because he's got a reputation where if he's unhappy, he's going to bark a little bit, right? He's a mouth to feed. And you're going to feed him. And Cole Beasley had a career year last season. Most targets he's ever had. It was also like his second or third worst catch percentage season. So while volume was there, Cole Beasley had a banner year, right? Banner year. John Brown looked the player that John Brown was last season was not the player the Ravens signed the season before. It's certainly not the player that he was in Arizona, right? He came into his own last season. It was awesome to see, just awesome to see. Bills are throwing, make no mistake, Bills will be throwing the football this season. Which leads me to conversation about the right tackle. Right tackle position is a little scary to me. You have Ty Nsekhe, you have Cody Ford. Cody Ford's your starter there, right? Let's not pretend like Ty Nsekhe is really part of this conversation. Ty Nsekhe played 30% of snaps last season because he was hurt like everybody kind of expected him to be, right? You kind of expected him to be hurt. And he was. He didn't disappoint you. He most certainly was hurt. Cody Ford's your starting right tackle this season. And you're going to be asking Cody Ford to do something that he's not particularly well versed in, and that's pass blocking. You want Cody Ford to be a hammer and finish guys in the run game, you're going to get that. He is an angry man in the run game. But you're going to be asking Cody Ford to do something that you're going to ask him to be excellent at something that he's only been average at, and that's in pass protection. He's not been a great pass protection tackle. Again, in the run game, I'll run behind Cody Ford any day because that man is a mean individual in the run game. Paul Berg says Ford got thrown to the Wolves. Yeah. Yep. Very true. Absolutely got thrown to the Wolves. You're an NFL player, though. From a major university. You know, this isn't Southwestern Missouri State, right? Like you went to a major university. And these are the things that you just have to learn. You got to learn. Got to learn. Let me catch up on the chat real quick. You guys have been busy in there. Who do the Bills let go of first, Brown or Beasley? That's from Aaron Clark. So that's an interesting question, right? Because you look at Diggs and you look at Brown and say, well, they both play outside. You drafted two players who could play outside. Duke is not a slot guy. So theoretically, right, the well's a little thinner for players like the well on this team is a little thinner for players who fit the mold of Beasley. You have Andre Roberts, you have Isaiah McKenzie, you have Nick Easley, and you have Cole Beasley, right? None of them are knocking on the door to threaten Beasley's job. Not have. Oh, and Ray McLeod. None of those guys are knocking on the door to steal Beasley's job. Beasley's savvy. He's creative. He's fun. Slot receivers, there's a million of them coming out of college every year. But Beasley's savviness is what keeps him on this team. I don't think either of them get cut, realistically. I think they both play out their contracts. Depending on how Hodges and Davis mature during the offseason are going to be whether we start talking to Brown about an extension at the end of the season or if we let that contract play out and look to bring him back at the end of the following season. So I think the Brown and Diggs conversation is really, really predicated very much on whether or not the Bills feel like they have a number two receiver somewhere in the mix, right? Steely fan, I'm not a Lee Smith fan, but I understand his strength. It's his strength. I got to be honest with you. He caught a couple touchdown passes. Granted, nobody was near him because everybody forgot Lee Smith can catch a football. But, I mean, Deion Dawkins caught a touchdown pass. Josh Allen caught a touchdown pass. Like, I understand that, the magic happens at one Bills drive every now and again. Even with that being said, I think Lee Smith and Patrick DeMarco being on this team at the same time, kind of rubs me the wrong way. I see Steely fan says you can't cry about Ford's pass blocking. That's why you have Lee Smith. He's still on the team. He could seal that edge. Yeah, you certainly could use Lee Smith, in that capacity, but you could do the same thing with Lee Smith in a fullback set, right? If you're really looking for help in pass blocking, you're not, Patrick DeMarco's not picking up there are better players on this team who pick up a blitz besides Patrick DeMarco, right? There are better players who can do that. Patrick DeMarco and Lee Smith, I don't think are I don't think both of them make the team this season. Now, in my perfect world, I'd let DeMarco go and I'd leave Lee Smith in a fullback role. If you decide to need him, just from a size perspective and a versatility standpoint, he offers you a little bit more than Patrick DeMarco does. But Devin Singletary picks up a blitz pretty well. Big shocker, man. It was a big shocker. I did not know he picked up. I did not know he picked up a blitz like that. That was a big surprise to me. G-Rock, Paul, if no one signs Cam Newton, do you think Bean will throw him a bone and sign him? Absolutely not. No way does Brandon Bean want that circus in Buffalo. There is a culture that comes with Cam Newton. He's been the center of attention for a long, long time. And Cam Newton would rather sit out than sign in Buffalo. Telling you right now, you're not beating out Josh Allen. You are going to be there to hold the clipboard, and it would actually be in Cam Newton's best interest to wait for an opportunity to come up. Off seasons haven't happened yet, so let's not forget that, right? Quarterbacks get hurt in the off season. It's happened before. It really would be in the best interest of Cam Newton to not sign anywhere and just wait this one out, because if he signs week one, and a lot of teams actually might wait till after week one to sign Cam Newton. I know that sounds a little strange, but if Cam Newton signs prior to week one and he's on the roster, his salary is guaranteed for the rest of the season, right? So if he's cut in week 4, 8, 12, whatever, it doesn't matter. If he's cut, he's a vested veteran, so he can file a grievance with the league and his entire salary gets paid. So there's a salary cap component to this. And Cam Newton, I mean, granted, is he going to want to sign for $6 million? I don't think so, right? I don't really think that's in Cam Newton's plans. I think he'd be happy to wait this one out. And again, you have to imagine that Cam Newton comes in what way does that help Josh Allen, right? Because if you're Brandon Bean and you're McDermott, you're still riding the Josh Allen is our starter, period, the end conversation. I know you just drafted Jake Fromm. I get that. I think a lot of people accept that, right? You kind of move forward, right? But, big but there, but bringing Cam Newton compromises your ability to say that you're all in on Josh Allen, right? I'm not thinking they're doing that. I just don't see them doing that. I just don't see them doing that. Do you think, Evan Anderson, do you think they'll look at Larry Warford, former guard for the Saints? Thinking of the guard position, I kind of left that position alone, right? For the most part, you're kind of looking at what you had last season, and I'm fine with what you had last season. No, I think the Bills have kind of made it. Who I see popping up in the chat, Apex says Spencer Long is getting traded. I obviously have I possibly, right? We've seen Bean trade players like that. I mean, look at Wyatt Teller. You got picks for Wyatt Teller. Look at that magic, right? Whatever pixie dust Bean has in his pocket, you're getting picks for Wyatt Teller. Thank you very much. But Bean has shown a tendency that you're gonna pick up the scrap heap, right? You're gonna be able to sign Spencer Long, who can start for you if you have to. You make a trade for Bates, who can play all across the offensive line. I just see them going and getting utility players, right? You've already got Spain, you've already got Feliciano, and after that, you're just going to try and grab some utility guys who can fit across your line and play pretty much anywhere. Good football minds. I think they're very comfortable with what's there. Long as the one that doesn't really fit to me, because you already have Bates, and Bates can actually play tackle and center and guard. So I just don't think Warford is a fit for them. That's just my opinion. Yeah, and Daniel Garies doubles down and says, I don't think the Bills really need guard help. Bills fan 7883, does Josh Allen take another step? This is the season. It's literally the only thing that matters. But you're going to bring in a walking distraction like Cam Newton. Yeah. This is the year for Josh Allen, right? You're walking into year 3. He's on a 4-year deal. You could pick up his option for a 5th year. Then after that, you can franchise tag him for 2 or 3 seasons afterwards, right? So if you want Josh Allen, you've got a path to 5 years with Josh Allen right now. You got another 5 if you want, right? But you don't want to be like Tennessee. I'll use Tennessee as a perfect example. Tennessee had Marcus Mariota. And every year they're walking well, he'll probably get better next year. Yeah, it's a learning process. And before you know it, you blink and you're on a 5th-year option paying Marcus Mariota like $22 million, some absurd amount of money, right? And you're starting Ryan Tannehill, who's like in his mid-30s. Yeah, nobody touched, right? He's just there to keep his career alive. And now, mind you, Tennessee paid him a ridiculous amount of money to stay. But the fact still remains that if you don't want to be Tennessee, you need to know now whether Allen is actually taking steps forward or whether you're being too patient. There's a point where you be too patient, right? You don't want to get complacent with we like him. We know he's trying, the effort's there. We think it'll turn around. I mean, there's a point where you just have to see it. And I think the Bills have done a good job of giving Josh Allen things that he can try and be successful in. I'm comfortable in saying that. I think they've done enough to try and make him successful. Now, the question is he going to be able to apply it once they remove some of the help, right? They've kind of propped up Josh Allen a little bit. I'd like to see him open up the offense a bit more. That comes with a lot of risk. You kind of got to see something soon, right? I see it. I don't know about you guys. I see something there. There's some things that Allen does that are just pure football player. Love it. Absolutely love it. But the 4th quarter of that Tennessee game scared the living hell out of me. So, hey, Steely fan, welcome to the practice squad, my dude. Welcome. Tony B says you could see Allen's growth every game. Yeah, and I think this is really where you start taking a look at the large steps forward for Josh Allen, right? Thank you for saying that we earned it. Much appreciated. You look at the weapons that they're investing into this offense. And now, let's be real. Last season, they threw a bunch of stuff at the wall and said, well, we're going to remake the entire offense. This doesn't always go well, but we kind of need it. So let's give it a try. Offensive line held up reasonably well. You took a bunch of wide receivers that were available in Beasley and Brown. You didn't pay a ton of money for them, and you made your offense work. You figured out a way to make it work. Congratulations. Now let's put some big assets in there, right? You're going to invest, you invested a 3rd-round pick in another running back. We went ahead and invested a 4th-round pick, in another wide receiver, invested a later pick in a wide receiver. We traded our 1st-round pick for an established number 1. Now is the time that you say whether this team is actually ready, whether Josh Allen is actually ready. It's when you really start putting the investments in and you start taking the governor off the offense a bit, you're going to see what Allen's made of this season. And we'll see how it goes, right? If you realize come week 6 that it's the Devin Singletary show, that's a little cause for concern, right? But if you're seeing Diggs with 8 targets, you're seeing Beasley with 4 targets, you're seeing Brown with 6 targets, right? You see, a Knox with 4 targets. You see Singletary with 4 targets. You see Moss with 3 targets. That's now we're starting to cook a little bit, right? This is a team that's going to spread the football around because they have the ability to. You're not going to see, if you are a fantasy football player, go ahead and draft Stephon Diggs because it's fun. Go ahead and draft Devin Singletary because it's fun. But this team is going to spread the love. They are going to be more dynamic if they can do that. They're absolutely going to be more dynamic if they can do that. John McCall, my issue is that with the 4th quarter is where Dable is where we're Dable and Barkley. Sorry. To recalibrate Allen. Yeah, I'm very, very curious where we're going to see Dable this season. So we did this a while back, right? So at the beginning of 2 seasons ago, Dable was in the box, and then the Peterman thing happened, and then the Allen thing happened, and now you're bringing in Derek Anderson, who was fishing like 2 weeks prior, catching steelhead somewhere, and you're like, okay, well, Dable's now out of the box. He's leaving the trail mix upstairs. He's coming downstairs, right? And you just kind of kept your offense on life support, and that's where he stayed. And then this season, the first chance he could get to be up in the box, he was up in the box. But the thing that got me was, I was thinking to myself, I go, okay, well, Dorsey will be down on the sideline, and Dorsey will be there to guide Allen through the game. This makes perfect sense. He's your quarterback's coach. He's been an NFL quarterback. This is great, right? Dorsey was interviewed for an offensive coordinator position in Buffalo. He didn't get it. That job went to Dennison. That was a 1 year, that was a 1 year thing. And then they brought in Dable, who they paid Alabama to get, by the way. That's how much they're investing in Brian Dable. They paid Alabama like $250,000 just to get Brian Dable. So you did all that, right? And then, you're watching the game on TV, and I'll be damned if Dorsey's not sitting next to Dable in the box snacking on the same trail mix. You're like, well, what the hell, right? What's a quarterback's coach doing? What's quarterback's coach doing up in the box? Quarterback's coach down on the sideline. Now, I didn't see that for every game, right? Dorsey was on the sideline for some games. So I don't want to blow up and say that it was across the board. But that job really was Barkley's. But it was Barkley's job to talk to Allen on the sideline. So I do think he had a role there, because there were some games that Dorsey was in the box with Dable for whatever reason. I guess I'll never know. But I expect to see Dable in the box. If Barkley is on this team, Dorsey will be wherever Dorsey is. At this point, it's kind of a mixed bag. I don't really know where to expect to see him. But if Barkley is off this team, you will absolutely see Ken Dorsey on the sideline, because you're not going to be able to depend on Jake Fromm to relay things to Josh Allen. It's just not going to be his role. You put a 5th round pick on Fromm. There again, there's an investment there. He plummeted because he's got a Chad Pennington arm, but he's got he's got a super high football IQ. There's a lot of good things about Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm could keep your team on life support for you. Allen goes down. Fromm has the ability to. Now, I do not think that if this happened in week 4 that you would want Jake Fromm out there. I'd rather obviously have Matt Barkley. But if you're looking long view, right? Long view says Fromm is smart money, right? He's a good football mind. In a backup quarterback, that's really what you're looking for, right? You're looking for a backup quarterback to win you 50% of the games. Okay. I do expect to see Barkley on the sidelines this season. I do expect them to carry 3 quarterbacks, but I wouldn't be surprised if partway through the season, you start seeing maybe Barkley's inactive, Dorsey's on the sideline, Fromm's the backup. Once you hit weeks 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because at some point you need to start taking that you need to start taking that support away from Josh to see if he can swim on his own. I definitely want the team to be as successful as possible. I don't want you to think that I don't, but you got to know what the kid's made out of. And Barkley does, and Barkley works hard in that sideline. So you got to start seeing, what Allen has to offer to take this team on and truly be the leader of the offense. But I do think that they're likely going to carry 3 QBs this season, through most of the season. Who knows? Below Zero, Dable's going to be the sacrificial lamb at the end of an unsuccessful season. Woo! Below, I thought we were friends. Unsuccessful season. My God. Scott Blakely in the hizzy. I just said hizzy on the live chat. Thank you very much. Mario's going to love that little gem. Allen doesn't need to be criticized, as he himself is his biggest critic. He improved last year and will improve this year. It's amazing how we forget all the QB busts post Kelly. Oh, no. I certainly do not forget the Billy Joe Hobarts and the Brian Brahms. Brian Bromson on. That's unfair. That was unfair. Massive quarterback injuries. Brian Brom got brought in. It started like 2 days later. So, Brian Brom was signed like you signed the quarterback for the 4th preseason game. Not fair to Brian Braun. My apologies to Brian Braun. I know you're watching. My apologies. But yeah, Allen is his biggest critic. And I love him for that, right? Absolutely love him for that. LeBron 913. I want to get rid of Daboll. You know, I am on that train with you. It is frustrating. They're winning football games. EJ Manuel is available, actually. He is available. And Spatwork says Todd Collins. Todd Collins was actually quite successful for the Chicago Bears. Funny story. I actually found an autographed Todd Collins hat. I have a Bills, and he was at some event that I was at when I was a kid. It was him and Jim Kelly someplace. So I have a Kelly autographed Bills hat and a Todd Collins autographed Bills hat. And for years, I looked at that signature and for the life of me just couldn't remember who it was. And then finally it hit me one day. I was like, oh my God, please tell me this is Todd Collins. And yeah, I have an autographed Todd Collins hat, which we may give away on hashtag one day as sort of one of those funny things to give away. Yeah, it'd just be a fun thing to give away. No, I'm not trying to sell the hat. As I said, it's probably just something that we'll give away, at some point. It's the gift that keeps on giving, I guess. All right, so it is 10:54 Eastern Standard Time. We got 5 more minutes. Oh, Jeff Toole, a Jeff Toole reference. Toole time. Then, of course, Tyrod, Matt Leinart. For those of you that bought a Buffalo Bills Matt Leinart jersey, my condolences. I actually don't think anybody did, but who knows? Buffalo's a crazy place. And isn't it nuts, right? You go back and look. A side note, brief history of college football. Never draft, in recent history, never draft a Heisman winning quarterback. Go ahead and look at the last 3 quarterbacks that were drafted early. Heisman. So NFL not following their own rules. Don't draft Heisman winning quarterbacks. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Never works out. Levi Brown, Vince Young. Yep. Kelly Holcomb. Guys, I got to sleep at night. We got 5 minutes left and we're going through this. Alex Van Pelt. Ryan wasn't Leaf a Heisman winner from Donnybrook. I call Mario Ryan Leaf all the time, constantly. I want to close out the stream with conversation about, because we're talking about former failed Bills quarterbacks. I want to talk about, in my opinion, the worst Bills draft pick ever. I'll give you guys a moment to go ahead and put your guesses in the live chat. Who's the worst Bills draft pick ever? Talk about Aaron Maben. You can talk. Go ahead. Put that in there. Worst Bills draft picks ever. Jordan, thank you for your Q&A. I will get on top of that. JP Lossman. Bills gave up a lot for JP. There's an argument. The guy was a late pick. Late round pick. Sammy. Oh my God, I love it. Watkins. Again, you're looking at a player who you traded a lot for, right? Traded a lot for Sammy Watkins. Wide receiver draft, and you trade. Oh, it's a tough one. Aaron Maben from Daniel Gary's. That's a pretty popular one. B says Mike Williams is definitely a Buffalo New Yorker. Al Tag Sports. Mario handles the Instagram thing. I don't know why I let Mario do it, but he does. Let's see here. Eric Flowers, Bruce Smith. Oh God. Redrafting Bledsoe. Bad first round picks. To me, the biggest one of all time is Tom Cousino. And you guys might not recognize that name. Some of you older Bills fans definitely will. The Bills had the first overall draft pick after trading O.J. Simpson. So brief history, right? Bills traded O.J. Simpson, probably at that, the most dominant offensive player the Bills ever had as an organization. They trade O.J. Simpson. They end up with the first overall pick in the draft. Draft him, doesn't show up. Doesn't come to Buffalo. You drafted a player with the first overall pick that doesn't show up. Goes and plays in Canada. A couple seasons later, says, you know what? I think I'm ready to come back to the NFL. But